What if I told you that every single part of your trip to the grocery store is planned? Even the smell. From the moment that you walk in to the second that you pay at the register. Big chains are using psychology, marketing, and even neuroscience to make sure that you spend more money without realizing it. And this isn't just about groceries, this is about control. And today, I'm going to expose the tricks that they use to get inside your head, but more importantly, your wallet. Chapter 1, the layout trap. So you ever notice how when you walk into any grocery store, it's not cleaning supplies and canned beans that they'll show, no. It'll be the bright, colorful produce section, and then right next to that, you usually have the bakery nearby. And that bakery is pumping the smell of fresh bread. But that's not for your convenience. This is actually a very deliberate ploy to make you hungry before you start grocery shopping. Because it's been shown that putting those two together can often trigger appetite. And when you think about it too, you have your milk, your eggs, and your butter, those essentials. And those are usually all the way to the very back. And why do you ask? Because that means that you're forced to pass over a dozen aisles just to get to them, with every aisle creating a chance for a new impulse purchase. Think about the last time that you went to the grocery store for one or two items and ended up spending over $50 or $70. And I bet you that it happens far too often. Bringing us to chapter 2, the secret of shelf placements. They say that the eye level is the buy level. The most profitable products with generally the largest margins will be right at the average adult eye level. And then when you compare to the more generic or cheaper brands, will be just sort of like brushed aside somewhere far along the aisle. And it doesn't stop there, because let's take kids' foods, cereals, or anything like that. Those will deliberately be placed lower to be at a child's eye level. And then they'll have those very bright, colorful, awesome looking mascots generally making direct eye contact outwards to make contact with the children. And again, that's not by accident, this is a strategy. And the craziest part about this is that brands will literally spend millions of dollars to big chains in order to have their products placed on a certain space on the shelf. So this isn't a concept about what's best for you, it's purely a concept of which company has the deepest pockets to put their product at the most desirable area. Which is why if you really think about it, you'll have all the big Nestle products and the most desirable areas, and then you'll have the little local mom and pop things that get introduced to the grocery store that are usually either put aside on the top or on the bottom shelf, where you're less likely to actually look. But it's not just about what you see, it's also about what you hear. And in chapter 3, we're going to talk about the soundtrack to spending. So you ever realize how when you walk into a grocery store, it's generally nice and a little quiet, you'll have some slow music playing. Sometimes you even know the song. It's a bit of a nostalgic song, and that's because it's been proven that having slower tempoed songs will keep customers inside the stores for a much longer period of time, and that the sales will actually increase as much as 38% in stores at which a slow tempo song is playing, because the longer you linger, the more you buy. But it's not just about time, it's about what music can do to you and how it can influence your mood. You'll have some uplifting music generally that'll make you feel happy, it'll make you feel energetic, and it'll make you just happy to keep shopping, versus sometimes they'll throw in the odd nostalgic songs, so generally songs with lyrics that you've known from your past. And keep in mind that these are all planned as per the general age of people that are shopping at different times of the day, and those nostalgic songs can create almost an emotional connection to your experience in the grocery store, making you want to splurge on nostalgic foods. And those are generally comfort foods that are more expensive and not necessarily great for you. And it's crazy to think, because even the volume of the music is a strategy. When you have a slower time where you have less people in the store, they'll have the music much lower, versus when it comes to a rush hour and they're just trying to pump people through the aisles and pump people through the grocery stores, they'll actually increase the sound of the music because it'll make people act faster. So next time that you go during a more rush hour time, pay attention to the music and you'll never unhear that. And so we've tackled the different senses so far. We've talked about what you see, what you hear, and now we're going to talk about chapter 4, scent marketing. So when you walk in and you get that smell of fresh bread or the roasted coffee, that's not by chance, that's what's called scent marketing. And scent marketing is one of the most powerful tools in retail psychology, because scents will most of the time bypass logic and go straight towards creating an emotional or even jogging up a memory. And it's been shown that the smell of bread will generally make you feel nostalgic, and that coffee will make you crave comfort comfort. Another one, like vanilla, will actually make you stay in an area for a longer period of time, partially because it smells great. And so you start putting these things together, and what you have is a perfect scent mix to make you want to stay in an area for a little bit longer. Whether it be around the bakery where those incredibly overpriced cookies are, or sometimes they'll strategically place a Starbucks in a complete other part of the store to make you stay in that area longer. And what's actually crazy is that some stores will actually pump artificial bakery smells into the air, even if there's actually nothing baking. So it's not just shopping, you're being manipulated on every single sensory level. But let's say you manage to bypass all of this because you're on a mission. This brings us to chapter 5, moving targets and the shelf wars. So you ever go to your favorite grocery store and then all of a sudden you almost feel lost because you can't find that one product that you've been looking for the last 5 minutes? You know that it was there last week because you got it last week, but it's not in that very specific place where it was last time. That's intentional. Stores will sometimes deliberately reshuffle their products around so that you can't just enter this autopilot mode when you're shopping to get exactly what you're looking for. And the goal of this strategy, which is actually kind of genius, is that it'll make you, again, more attentive to everything that you're looking for on the shelves as you're scanning, which will most likely end up in you looking at something you didn't see last time or that you didn't even need, but it got your attention and now you're looking to purchase. So by slowing you down again, just another strategy to get you to stay in there longer, and more impulse purchases generally happen. And this can either be the case of a company that is either reshuffling or maybe another bigger competitor, like let's say when the Prime energy drinks came out, that they then purchased the best possible slots in the shelving spaces inside grocery stores, which made other brands move aside. Next time you go to a grocery store and you're looking for the most popular brands of energy drink, tell me that they're not going to be directly at eye level versus, let's say, the cheaper ones or the ones you might not have heard so much. You know what? Let's compare Monster and something like, I don't know, C4, where Monster will generally always be Monster and Rebel at the main eye level versus you'll have some of the smaller brands like C4 that'll be in maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower, but they generally won't be at perfect eye level. And so when these big chains are getting paid literal millions of dollars by these companies every year, imagine the income that is influxed from this to these grocery stores and their incentive to keep moving things around to make sure that those specific products sell more. But all shelves are not created equal. Moving on to the shelves I probably hate the most in grocery stores. Chapter 6, the checkout trap. So right when you think you've made it, you only got what you wanted. You got your chicken, you got your rice, you got your egg whites, your eggs, your yogurt, and somehow you manage to dodge all the crappy processed shit on the aisles, and then you get to the checkout counter. You've almost made it out, and then the checkout aisle hits you. And what's on those aisles? You get single-serve chocolate bars, sodas, gums, Tic Tacs, candies, you name it. Nothing there is healthy. And they're there for one reason only, to create last-second impulse buying. It's like their last grab at your wallet. And most of the time, there's probably a couple people ahead of you, and you know, sometimes you just stare at your phone like a zombie, or you just keep looking around because maybe you just finished loading all your groceries on the belt and you're waiting around, and where are your eyes going to wander? They're going to look at all the shiny, beautiful colors of everything that's on there. And the craziest part is that a lot of times those single serve bars at the checkout aisle will be more expensive than if you were to buy them in 2 or 3 packs or in a case of sodas anywhere else in the store, because at this point you are paying for convenience. And now that you know that everything they're doing is just out to get you, you need to come up with a game plan, or respectfully, you're screwed. So how do you fight back? 1, always have a grocery list. Know what you need and stick to it. Number 2, look high and low on the shelves. Don't just aimlessly like a zombie looking directly at eye level. That's how they get you. 3, be mindful of these smells and music, because now that you know that they're playing slower music to get you going, speed up those steps. And lastly, when you get to the checkout counter, do not stare at the candy options. You've seen them before. You know what a Kit Kat looks like. You don't have to stare at the Reese's. And no, you're not that thirsty that you need to buy a $6 can of Red Bull right now. You can drive 5 minutes to get home and have water, or bring your own water bottle with you, because we now know that supermarkets are completely out to get you. But now that you know their playbook, you can start fighting back. And so this is the reality of the psychology, the marketing, and the tricks that they've been doing to gain as much of your income as they can, even though you definitely don't need most of the products that you end up purchasing. So if you learned anything, if you found this eye-opening, if you could like, comment, throw a subscribe, that'd be super cool. I'd love to get to 50K by the end of the year. But as always, if you're interested in the one-on-one coaching program that I do offer, a link will be in the bio. But as always, let's change the world together.